It is 6 p.m. We will go ahead and call the meeting of the Grand Forks Public School Board for this Monday, June 8th, 2026 to order. First item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Item 1A is the reading of our school board meeting norms. Dr. Hodak.
Be prepared, be on time, value and respect each other, exercise thoughtful deliberation and conversation, be professional at the board table and when visiting with the general public, speak up when the norms are not being followed, advocate on behalf of students, and keep the community in mind.
Thank you. Item number 2 is the approval of our agenda. Any additions or corrections this evening? Hearing none, I would seek a motion to approve tonight's agenda. Joel has a motion. Jeff, second. We'll take a roll call vote.
Manley?
Yes.
Hodak?
Yes.
Clevin?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
Palmasino? Flynn?
Yes.
Lund?
Yes.
Berger is absent. Anderson?
Yes.
8 yes, 0 no, 1 absent.
Motion carries. Item number 3 on the agenda is our public comment period. At this time, I do not believe I have any blue cards for public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who was wishing to comment? One? Okay, can we get a blue card filled out right in the back table there? And then we'll have you come to the microphone. While you're doing that, I will just let us know that state law requires that an individual providing a comment at a meeting provide to the governing body in writing their name and address. Public comments must be pertinent to the district, may not interfere with the orderly conduct of the regular meeting, may not be defamatory, abusive, harassing, or unlawful, and may be provided if an alternative procedure exists to bring that particular type of public comment before the public entity. The public comment includes confidential or exempt information, or the public comment is otherwise prohibited by law. The board may limit public comments in accordance with state law. Individuals wishing to address the school board must complete a public comment card, submit it to the board secretary, and wait to be invited to speak. Each member may speak for up to 3 minutes. No individual may speak on the same topic more than once. School board members should not engage in a response or enter into a debate about any issue brought before the board during this portion of the meeting. Public comments and concerns will be directed to the superintendent of schools, who will address them in accordance with policies adopted by the board. We have one public comment card. Thank you. One public comment from Sherry Brosart. If you could come to the microphone, it looks like it's already on, and state your name and 3 minutes, please.
Hi, my name is Sherry Brosart, and I live at 610 South 4th Street, but this is actually pertaining to my grandson that lives in the Schrader School District that you guys have rezoned, and have sent him a letter stating that he needs to go to Valley because he was in a private school prior to going to, and I'm just wondering, what are the following meetings to go to find out how to address? He's got a younger brother coming up, and we really haven't gotten any of the answers by the letters we sent in to find out who do we go to address some of the questions we have before. We're not saying Valley's not an option, but he's only a couple blocks from Schrader. And we're also pertaining to his younger brother coming up and who makes decisions when that time comes, stating that he might have to go back to Schrader. And then we got two going 2 different directions because we didn't have any heads up on this. And he was told when he was going, he did the tour at Schrader, planned on going there, and then all of a sudden he got a letter stating he can't go there and to go over to Valley.
Thank you. Yeah, this would be handled by administration.
And those, okay, and so is this going to be a generic question, or is this got to go through a board? Because we're talking like,
I would
the
ask
prior-
that we don't get into conversation here. This
Okay.
is just a time for you to come
Okay.
and provide your comment, and we'll have the superintendent's office reach out to you, or if you
Okay.
would like to
So I
reach
can
out,
call you?
then that's the proper method
perfect.
of
That's what we
addressing
needed
this.
to know. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to item number 4 then, superintendent's recommendations for discussion. There are none at this time, or none. Item 5, superintendent's recommendations for action. 5A is the consent agenda. I would seek a motion to approve. Bill has made a motion. Is there a second? Joel has made a second. We'll take a roll call vote.
Lund,
Yes.
Palmesino, Flynn. Berger is absent. Clevin.
Yes.
Manley.
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Hodak. Anderson.
Yes.
H, yes, 0, no, 1 absent.
Motion carries. 5B is the appointment of Red River High School Associate Principal, Dr. Brenner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You have a memo from me in your board packet with some accompanying information from myself that included information shared by Associate Principal Darren Walters. The interview team was led by Dr. Darren Walters, the incoming principal at Red River High School, and the interviewing team consisted of 12 members, including general education, special education, music teachers, along with counselors, school social worker, and administrative assistant. It also included the incoming assistant superintendent of secondary education, Dr. Chris Harrison, and current Red River administration. And this is relative to the appointment of Mrs. Amber Basting as the new associate principal of Red River High School effective July 1, 2026. Attached to this memo, you'll see her qualifications and previous experience. Ms. Basting was last with us, or presently is just finishing up at Valley Middle School as an associate principal, has spent time as a sales center coordinator and also a special education coordinator for the district. So she comes to us with a rich background in special education, instructional strategies, et cetera, et cetera. So the administrative recommendation is to appoint Mrs. Amber Basting as the associate principal of Red River High School effective July 1, 2026, at a base salary of $108,009 with a school size factor of $2,000 and an education factor of $2,900 for a total of $112,909. And I would stand for any questions that I might be able to respond to regarding Ms. Basting's candidacy and who is in the audience with us tonight.
Questions for Dr. Brenner? Jay?
Just a quick comment, I think we all appreciate, and maybe if I can't speak for all of us, I'll speak for myself, the variety of influences, if you will, on the interview team. Teachers, administration, teachers of a variety of backgrounds. It gives me a lot more comfort knowing that it's a diverse input on each process. And it also says it's a very transparent and open process. So I just really appreciate it.
Thank you. Other questions? No other questions. I would seek a motion. We know what the administrative recommendation is.
I move to accept the administrative recommendation.
Jay has made a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Dr. Odak has seconded. Other questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote.
Hodak.
Yes.
Clevin.
Yes.
Manley.
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Flynn.
Yes.
Lund.
Yes.
Berger is absent. Palmesino. Anderson.
Yes.
H, yes, 0, no, 1 absent.
Motion carries. Thank you. Five C, designation of authorized representatives for title and other federal programs and competitive grants for 2026, 2027. Mr. Bakke.
Yes, Vice President Anderson, members of the board, in front of you, you have a memo that outlines our authorized representatives for our title funds as well as our other federal programs. This is an annual item that we do about this time every year. As indicated in the memo, these are the authorized reps that would sign off on those programs and those federal funded programs. Listed below include Title I, Title II, III, 4, IDEA B, which is our special education, our Title VII, Indian education, Title VIII, Impact Aid, and then our Title IX. Along with that is also our Johnson O'Malley, our Indian Ed Formula Grant, along with Head Start, 21st Century, and then our District Homeless Foster Care Liaison and our School Food Service. So it covers a wide range of our federal funds as well as any of our competitive designated grants through title. The administrative recommendation is to approve the authorized reps of the designated individuals as outlined in the memo as the authorized rep for the title and other federal programs competitive grants for the 26-27 school year. I would stand for any questions you may have.
Are there questions for Mr. Bakke? Amber?
I think seeing this list is always like, geez, that's a lot. And so not necessarily knowing the involvement of each of the title grants or programs, can you give us an idea of how much of this person's time is dedicated to overseeing these programs?
Yeah, I will say a majority of those individuals obviously on that list would be my portfolio. Even I would say the District Homeless Liaison, District Foster Care Liaison typically fall as direct reports to within my portfolio. I would say a majority of this is taken up through my office, and I would say, as saying that, I would say 2 out of the probably 5 days of the week is addressing or looking at items related to the list on here. As you'll see, one indication, one difference moving into next year that you'll see is the IDEA B grant is actually going to be falling under Dr. Brenner moving into next year. So.
I think part of why I asked that question is, you know, the understanding of the two assistant superintendent positions. You know, certainly this is a large portfolio to manage. I also wonder, is taking 2 out of the 5 days of your time per week to deal with this, you know, I'm sure Mr. Arison and Dr. Galach, you know, probably had their own portfolio too, but it seems like a lot to manage with one person. So I'm maybe just curious about other divvying of responsibilities. I don't know if there's any other way to slice it. But I think one, it highlights the administrative work, but 2, what potential other options have been considered, just for discussion.
Yep.
Okay,
Please.
I just wanted to make sure I could answer that. So what I would say is it seems a natural fit because of the fact that typically a lot of these programs fall under elementary. Primarily, a lot of the programs, when we talk Title I funding, is primarily elementary related. We do have South and Valley that are also Title I funded as well, but so just 2 schools in comparison to the other 7. So when we look at that, it makes sense for a natural fit to fall under the Assistant Superintendent of Elementary Education because you're working directly with those people on a normal basis. Title II and Title IV, if you're going to take on the Title I funding, it makes sense for it to be to take on all of the title aspects as well too. So it does seem like a natural fit. I think breaking up those would be difficult, but obviously that's a operational Dr. Brenner and his call moving forward, but it does make sense in my mind personally.
Thank you. Did I see other questions over here? Jay?
It was just somewhat related that there's a lot of assignments to the new guy coming in. And I was just kind of tongue-in-cheek curious that I was just picking on him because he's a new guy. But you answered the question, it falls under that elementary ed thing. It looks like a lot of work. So kind of along Amber's lines, what is the general duty and requirement to be the designated authorized representative for these title programs?
Thank you, Mr. Clevin. So basically what you're looking at is the budgeting aspects of these programs. You're working with the principals to identify what their goals with the funding is. It would be tracking to make sure that those are on pace, working with Demeka Norwood, who is our grant manager, to make sure that the funds are being expended and that their allowable uses are being followed. Additionally, on top of that, you're doing all the reporting associated with that, working with the principals and doing our notifications that happen on the website, as well as our meetings that happen both in the fall, winter, and spring, running the assessments that are associated with any of our title programs and making sure that those assessments are meeting the goals that we've laid out in our grant, making sure that those drawdowns are being done typically by the business office, and making sure that they're done accurately. You are also working with the district homeless liaison and foster care liaison to make sure that we're following those rules and regulations under federal code, and making sure that as students come into our district that are experiencing homelessness or are being placed in a foster care home, that we're following those rules and regulations to make sure that they're placed adequately and quickly. So that's a really brief overview of it, but it's pretty complex from a federal level to make sure that you're following. Now, one thing I will say is Mr. Triggs does have experience in that realm in his current district and previously in his other administrative roles. So he does have some experience to go off of.
It sounds like a lot of work. Even with the brief summary, I might even summarize it one broader step beyond is that representative's responsible for federal compliance. Is that an accurate statement?
Well summarized.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Lund, did you have something? No? Other questions? Dr. Hodak?
I don't have another question, but just a comment to add that as Matt suggested, and then now with Jay, it's easier for us as administrators when the feds make a change or do something, it usually impacts each one of these grants, or it has a different way of impacting, and thus having that person, one person, kind of behind the plate on all the things happening from the feds, it's better, much better for consistency.
Thank you. Matt?
Yeah, I just want to correct a statement earlier. I said that there were 7 elementary schools. There's actually 8, so I apologize for that incorrect statement. So just going through it in my head and I miscounted. Apologize.
Thank you. Other questions on this item? Seeing none, the administrative recommendation is to approve the authorization of the designated individuals as the authorized representatives for the above title and other federal programs and competitive grants for 2026-2027 as presented. Is there a motion? Joel has made a motion. Mr. Manley has seconded. We'll take a roll call vote.
Flynn?
Yes.
Hodak?
Yes.
Berger is absent. Manley?
Yes.
Lund?
Yes.
Clevin?
Yes.
Palmasino? Larson?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
8 yes, 0 no, 1 absent.
Motion passes. 5D will be consideration of bids for property insurance. Mr. Bombach.
Thank you, Chair Anderson, members of the board. Each year we go through some work with our broker, Voller Insurance, who is now working under the Marsh McLennan title. So Tim Scarperud and Heidi Cash are fantastic, and they work with us to make sure that we get the best possible coverage at the greatest rates out there. This year, when we went out to receive exactly those responses, we received 2. One was from Liberty Mutual, who is our current holder of insurance, and second was from Ender for the North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund and the Associated Fund of Fire and Tornado. This year, we really dug in to look at that Ender option. In prior years, there's just some explanation as to why we might not want to be covered by that North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund. And the short explanation of that is if you have other municipalities covered by that same insurance agent, like UND and the city of Grand Forks, if there was a catastrophic event, then they're all subject to the same aggregate cap limit. We pushed a little further and dug in a little bit more and found that the risk associated with such an event is incredibly low. And so that's the big change here, where the administrative recommendations coming forward with the NDERF property insurance coverage rather than the larger national company of Liberty Mutual. Just to go through a few more details on that, a couple of pages are attached. The second and third page are all the same across those. The first column would show you the coverage we're currently in, the current period. First column, excuse me. The second would then be the renewal from Liberty Mutual, which was a positive renewal with only a small increase, less than 1%. It was really a positive thing to have on the table. And the third column would be for the North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund. There's a lot of nuance to that first page that's really around the property insurance. But one that I would highlight that has gotten me a little excited is that deductible, including, it actually includes the water damage, but also windstorm and hail, which is important for our region for coverage here. That deductible for water damage on the Liberty is $50,000, whereas North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund, it's only $10,000. And the more significant point here is in the insurance market the past couple of years, windstorm and hail has moved to a 1% subject to a $100,000 minimum. So your deductible on the possibility of wind and hail, something that we need to be more concerned about in our community than probably some other events, is significant. Whereas with North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund, that deductible is only $10,000. So a significant change in that regard. If you do walk through the property insurance, which is the first portion of that table, equipment breakdown, and then it goes into the other types of coverages that we're not really weighing in on tonight. But by the bottom of the document, you'll find a sum, a total. And just to put that into context here, the current insurance coverage premium that we're paying is $660,000, $663.02. The Liberty Mutual increase would bring it to $667.04, whereas this NDERF renewal is $616. So it's a little bit of savings on that premium with that reduced deductible. There are a number of other trade-offs here, but I wanted to point out those two. Those would be the most significant in my mind. And as administration, we're excited about working with North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund and the fire and tornado. And we feel as though we're going to get a little bit better coverage for the things that would affect us most likely. So the administrative recommendations, Grand Forks Public School District to accept the property insurance bid submitted by Ender for a total anticipated premium expense of $616,249. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Blumberg? Dr. Lund?
I didn't until you started talking, and now I've got a question. So you talked about catastrophic that would affect all three entities. You mean like a massive flood that would affect UND, and that's a low risk?
Yeah, we got a really great levy now. So it's all taken
Well, that's
care
what
of.
I assume, but that's what you're talking about, and a catastrophic event that would affect all three of those entities could be an
That's
issue.
exactly it. A little less tongue-in-cheek. I think we spent a little more time talking about the concept of a tornado that would come through town and affect the properties holdings of those entities. And yes, that's what we're talking about.
Other questions? Mr. Clevin?
Follow up on that for a moment, and I got a question about exclusions. Are you saying that NDERF treats each of those three, us, UND, and the city collectively as one aggregate cap?
That's correct. That's precisely it. And describe it as such, as the aggregate cap of $250 million. So if something were to happen, we would all be susceptible to a $250 million cap on the property loss.
I struggle to understand how that can be when they're three separate entities. But if it's their rule, it's their rule. You answered the question I was looking for. And then on exclusions, there's something called TRIA. That's an exclusion? What exactly is that?
You're talking in the in the footnotes to the document here, third page, LM terrorism, TRIA, property coverage not included above.
Correct.
I'd have to reach back out to our brokers to get you a precise answer.
How long do we have to wait to make a decision?
I would hope, I mean, if, with your comfort, if we would need to have insurance coverage in place by June 30. And so, hoping that that item is not a holdup here. With that being said, though, I talked to Mr. Scarperud, who's on the road today, but he is available to call in if we want to ask that question.
Well, young Mr. Larson over here looked it up, and apparently it's terrorism risk insurance. So,
Fair. And just going a little bit further here and not talking with specifics because I'm outside of that comfort zone is, when it comes to terrorism, there's a lot of nuance in this insurance world as to what the definition of it is, and if such an event were to take place, how to actually get that recognized and qualified for insurance coverage. I think there's probably a lot more to be said around that.
okay, thank you.
Other questions? Okay. Seeing none, the administrative recommendation is for the Grand Forks Public School District to accept the property insurance bid submitted by NDERF for a total anticipated premium expense of $616,249. Is there a motion? Dr. Hodak moves to approve. Second by Bill. We'll take a roll call vote, or any further discussion or questions before I do that? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote.
Palmesino?
Yes.
Lund?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
Flynn?
Yes.
Berger is absent. Hodak?
Yes.
Manley?
Yes.
Klevin?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
8 yes, 0 no, 1 absent.
Motion passes. 5E is consideration of bids to provide independent annual financial audit services. Mr. Bombach.
Thank you, Chair Anderson, members of the board. I walked in a memo tonight at your table side that has more information. Just as the initial memo had articulated, is that we had set that deadline to comply with state bidding requirements. That got a little close to the board meeting here, but knowing the next board meeting isn't until July, we wanted to get this in place as we normally do an inventory count, even as soon as July 1 with our auditors. So we have gone out to bid here, which we don't always do every single year. It was time to check in on that one, and we got 2 responses, with a third conversation that never materialized. Ide Bailey and Brady March came forward with a 3-year window here, so I've provided a table on the document I gave you that kind of summarizes it. Just to articulate that, I put Ide Bailey here first in a couple of different characters of their response and made them very similar to Brady March in the lower half of the table. And then from left to right, it's the initial year of a 3-year term, 2026, and then 27, 28. So just to kind of take you through that, the 4 characters, you have a base audit fee, and excuse my language there, actually I say foundational audit fee, because this is actually including both District 1 and District 140. So I said the word base, but that's air base. This would be functionally your base amount here. What happens then is you also test programmatically per a lot of the federal grants that Mr. Bakke just articulated. They test not everyone every year, but they will pick and choose. We most common will test 2 or 3 of those, depending on requirements. And the rates in which each of those, Brady March charges $5,000 for each single audit on top of the base audit. And what's been quoted here from Ide Bailey is $6,500. So I've included the assumption of 2 single audits here, at least 1 at each entity, just to make these comparable. Both firms are charging a tech fee. Brady March gave us a flat rate of what that tech fee would be at $21.90, and Ide Bailey had a 5% of a number, which brings it to $26.25. And then I just totaled those to help us compare. Ide Bailey had quoted us on what we would expect to be an annual expense in the first year of $55,125. Brady March at $45,990. And then you can see they've already given us those rates for future years. Ultimately, Brady March has been great to work with, absolutely no complaints in our auditing process in that regard, so we were happy to receive their response. Only have heard good things about Eide Bailey and what they included with the rest of their packet, certainly a capable firm. So as administration reviewed this, we got down to the lowest responsible bidder and ultimately are recommending that we stick with our current auditor of Brady Martz for that initial price of $45,990.
Thank you. Other questions for Mr. Baumbach? Dr. Lund?
So does this mean whoever we accept, the 27 and 28 bids they're locked in on that price? Or is it open for negotiation in those years?
Yeah, fair question, Chair Anderson. Board Member Lund, I would say that we've set the path for 3 years, but we don't engage until we have an engagement letter in front of us for each year. But, so it's not a hard and fast contract, but that's the expectation here.
Other questions? Mr. Clevin, did you have a question? Oh, you have your mic on. So. Other questions? Okay, seeing none, the administrative recommendation is to accept the proposal from Brady Martz to provide independent annual financial audit services to the Grand Forks Public School District Number 1 and Grand Forks Air Force Base School District Number 140. Is there a motion? Mr. Clevin has made a motion to approve. Second by Mr. Larson. Any further discussion or questions? Seeing none, we will take a roll call vote.
Berger is absent. Flynn?
Yes.
Clevin?
Yes.
Hodak?
Yes.
Palmasino? Larson? Lund? Manley? Anderson? HS, 0 no, 1 absent.
Motion passes. Thank you. Number 5F is the instructional time waiver for the Career Impact Academy. Dr. Glatch.
Thank you, Vice Chair Anderson. You can see in your packet a request for an instructional time waiver. As a reminder, you approved the same instructional time waiver last year. It is required by the Department of Instruction for any sort of school system that might have an alternative delivery model. So the Career Impact Academy, which has completed its first year in operation, an exciting year, has an instructional design model that is in block sessions. So they go for 90-minute blocks as opposed to our traditional in-building model, which is a 50-minute class period. The amount of time that is spent in each block is also condensed to 18 weeks versus 36 weeks. In the end, that we meet the instructional hours that are, or come close to the instructional hours, which is why the waiver is required for this sort of operation. It has been a bell schedule that has worked really well for the project-based work at the CIA, and the administrative recommendation is to approve the CIA's extension time waiver application for the 26-27 school year. You can see the block schedule attached as well to the memo. So I'm posed to take questions at this time.
Thank you. Questions? Amber.
Something you just said made me think of something. So if the time frame is 18 weeks, but a class is normally 36, is it recommended then that if someone chooses to take a class at the CIA, that they would essentially take 2 classes during that school year to fulfill what they completed and then, or to fulfill that time?
Yeah,
block?
great question. So it really works out quite well because there are a major chunk of CTE classes that actually it's recommended that students take the full semester credit instead of a 0.5 credit. So it really works out well that students just kind of continue on in their classes. So they might take building trades semester A and semester B and finish it in a semester's time. So it's kind of an accelerated, I don't know how to say this, it's kind of like an accelerated block within the block, but in the end, if they were taking the commensurate classes back in their building schedule, it would just plane out in the end.
Mhm.
I don't feel like I'm explaining it very well, so
Yeah, when
the
you
model
say
works
that,
well.
I'm thinking like, are they taking like Aviation 1 and then Aviation 2, or is
Most
it-
students do continue in their,
Okay.
in that track.
Okay,
Yeah.
so usually there's probably 2 courses of study that line up with each other, and so they finish kind of this block and then they go to.
Correct, and that's not pure for all classes,
Yeah.
but it seems to work really well for the majority of the classes, especially those that kids are seeking certifications, kind of industry standard certifications in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? Mr. Clevin?
What is the minimum required instructional time?
Oh, gosh, Mr. Clevin, I will get back to you on that. I'll have to look it up. But it's, so the Department of Instruction has gone more liberal in its interpretations. Oh, it's 1,050 minutes. Thank you.
Hours.
Or, I'm sorry, hours. Thank you, Gemini Baki. Yeah, and they've really become more liberal on the way that it used to be according to seat time hours, quite honestly. And there's been a recognition that learning is not linear in that regard. And so there have been various ways that districts can approach the teaching and learning process, and this is one of them. So it's not a pure 1,050 hours anymore that's required.
Thank you.
And I want to assure you that in that time frame that is parsed out here, the essential standards of each of the content areas are met. So that is a requirement by the Department of Instruction that we cannot debate.
Thank you. Other questions on this item? Seeing none, the administrative recommendation is to approve the CIA's extension time waiver application for the 2026-2027 school year. Do we have a motion? Dr. Hodek has made a motion. Is there a second? Mr. Clevin, any further discussion or questions? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote.
Clevin.
Yes.
Larson. Palmesino. Lund. Manley. Flynn. Hodak.
Yes.
Berger is absent. Anderson.
Yes.
HS, 0, no, 1 absent.
Motion carries. 5G is our School Board Self-Assessment Committee report, consideration of the 2025-2026 self-assessment. Mr. Clevin.
So we did meet as a committee last week. It was myself and Josh, Dr. Brenner, and Cindy Johnson, and just some bulleted highlights. Did I miss one? And Jeff, sorry, not Josh. Sorry, Jeff. Anyways, ding me on the norms for the meeting, would you please? But anyways, we did review the previous self-assessment committee and the summary report that came out of the previous year. We reviewed the responses to this year, not in any detail. We didn't do any like fancy statistics or anything, but just reviewed for general character, and do we think that's a suitable mechanism to report the results? Graciously, the committee did allow one submittal that got submitted after the deadline, but before the meeting. That person appreciated that. And then summary of it all, we do recommend that the detailed responses, the numerical responses, and the comments be introduced as record of the self-assessment process. Last year, the outcome was a very summarized one-page, essentially kind of subjective evaluation, like a better, best sort of relativity to it. This year's outcome is numerical, and I think it's great. I think the committee would also agree. The reason we did this is because then everybody can see the individual responses. And I think it's fascinating to see how individually we rate ourselves on the same criteria. And I think it's a great thing to have that level of exposure. So summary of the committee meeting is to basically recommend that we accept the self-assessment rubric and the comments as the outcome of the self-assessment committee.
Thank you. Other committee
Jeff,
members?
anything to clarify?
Jeff, do you want to add
I'm sure I
anything?
stumbled.
Just that we had several that didn't complete the assessment, and if those that are here comfortable stating why or why they didn't fill that out, I guess. But myself being one, I guess it's just a unbelievable busy time of the year, and totally missed the deadline. I apologize for that, but if anybody else would like to provide input, that would be helpful. Maybe it's the wrong time of year to have it, if we can shift it around a little bit, I don't know, but whatever your thoughts are.
Other comments or questions? Joel?
Ditto. It was busy, and I just missed it. Busy, and I just missed it.
Other item, Amber?
Same. I think I will own my responsibility as a board member that we all get busy. The last week of school as a parent is astronomically insane. And so I think, to your point, shifting it a little bit, I didn't feel like I could give the survey enough time, but I could have at least let someone know. My other comment would be, I think it's important for some consistency, and because we send this one to the executive cabinet, I think mirroring that with Dr. Brenner's evaluation would also be important to send to the executive cabinet for consideration.
Other comments? Dr. Lund?
I did actually fill it out, surprisingly. I think you want it done at the end of the year because you're evaluating yourself over a year. It's unique for during election years that it'd be nice to do it even a little later, but we have board members that are going to be going off. I think in non-election years, you maybe could move it to June or even July or something like that. That might make it a little easier. But on election years, you're kind of almost stuck. But you kind of want to do it towards, I mean, you really don't want to do it in February or January, I don't think, because you want to do it towards the end of the year. But in non-election years, it might be reasonable to try and not do it, because May is a busy time of year for multiple things for multiple people.
Other comments or questions?
I
Amber?
would just say, I think the holiday complicated things too, just with traveling and graduations and things like that. So to Dr. Lund's point, I think it's good to have it at the end of the year, but even pushing it to middle of May or first week of May, or, at that point, it's not like we have a ton of business left that would impact the assessment.
Thank you. Other comments or thoughts? Dr. Lund, again?
Did the board, or did the committee have any insight into, well, this is an area we really should work on? I mean, when you look at the numbers, I think the lowest one was a 3.21 or whatever, which was communication with the public. Did you guys talk about that at all? Okay.
No.
Mr. Manley, any comment to that? Nope, okay. Other questions? Comments? Okay. I certainly appreciated the opportunity to fill it out. I think the format is nice to be able to come back to multiple times and then review what you've written after the fact. So I certainly appreciated that opportunity, and I would echo the comment too. Having all the comments at the end is certainly helpful for me to read, so I appreciate that. Any other items on this? Dr. Hodak?
From my perspective, yes, I just totally blew it off. I don't know what I was busy. But I also feel about the process itself that I believe if you're doing a board assessment of basically the board meetings that we're having, as well as decisions and so forth, things that are happening, if I had remained on the board, I probably would have been a proponent asking for that there is that the committee is tasked with giving and providing. We talk about the norms at the end of each meeting, and we give ourselves an A or whatever and such. I think it would be much more worthwhile to be on demand, that after that meeting, the next day we're sent whatever is a brief evaluation form, or whenever we're together, such as our retreats, excuse me, and doing it immediately gives, to me, stronger feedback, because we will not have to think back on that, as well as it gives the assessment committee a lot more data besides of an end of the year. Bottom line, in my world, it's called being a formative assessment, equaling then jumping into a summative assessment.
Thank you. Other items from anyone? Okay, seeing, Amber?
Perhaps this fits under board requests for future consideration, but I think in relation to this topic, the members of the committee are meeting about this and then sort of determining a timeline for any survey that we have, whether it's a negotiations process, whether it's a board self-assessment, whether it's superintendent assessment. And I think, the other members who aren't at that meeting don't really hear the time frame. And so when we are noticed about it, it's when we get the email from Cindy, which she does a good job explaining everything, giving it an appropriate time. But I wonder if part of our announcement sections in our board meetings for consideration for board leadership and Dr. Brenner is, do we give an announcement on Monday knowing that there's something coming on Friday saying, please be aware that this is coming, especially if someone's out of town or whatever, they don't check their email for 3 days and then now they have 4 days to complete the assessment. I just think that maybe that's important in terms of announcements, or, like certainly including it in Friday Focus, but I think verbally stating as much as we can would just help us be more aware and on time as well.
Thank you. It was the committee's recommendation or motion to accept the report to the board. Is that accurate, Jay?
And then we have to, the recommendation is accept the scoring rubric summary and comments to be brought to the board for recommendation for approval.
Okay.
That's what our board needs to do today.
Is there a motion on this item? Bill has made a motion.
Second.
Amber seconds. Any further discussion on this? Okay, seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote.
Larson.
Yes.
Manley.
Yes.
Lund.
Yes.
Palmasino. Hodak.
Yes.
Berger is absent. Clevin.
Yes.
Flynn.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
8 yes, 0 no, 1 absent.
Motion carries. 5H is our policy review and consideration. Dr. Hodak, please.
This should be fairly short and sweet. We approved all of those, the 1 through, let me get the 1 through 16 as second reading, or reading and adoption of the following policies. So I would recommend that we approve again, and to complete the second reading and adoption of the following new policy that was presented to us, to just conclude those needing to be the second reading.
Questions for Dr. Hodak on this? Amber?
Can we make a motion to complete the second reading and adoption of all in one motion?
So you're saying 1 through 16 and
Yes.
then 1 again also?
Yes.
Yes.
If so, I'd make that motion.
We have a
Second.
motion. Dr. Hodak, second. Any further discussion? Dr. Lund?
Just if somebody has heartburn over one particular one, they should point it out before the vote, because you hate to vote no 16 times when you really are objecting to one. So I think if somebody had an issue with a policy, we should pull that to talk about it individually. I don't have any, but just.
Any other questions or items of discussion on this? Okay, there's a motion on the floor. We'll take a roll call vote.
Berger is absent. Flynn.
Yes.
Hodak.
Yes.
Clevin.
Yes.
Larson. Lund. Manley.
Yes.
Palmasino.
Yes.
Anderson. 8 yes, 0 no, 1 absent.
Motion carries. Item 5H, I, is the rescission of May 26, 2026 K-12 mathematics adoption approval and approval of final curriculum agreements. Dr. Brenner?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You've got a memo from me. The purpose of this is to request the school board to act upon rescinding the motion approved on May 26, 2026 that authorized K-12 mathematics adoption in the amount of $440,461.25. and to replace it with the approval of authorizing the final contractual agreements associated with the district's K-12 mathematics instructional resources. That was an error on my part that I brought to you last time. So I'm asking for that to be unwound and then to approve the 7-year expenditure. So under the background section, following the board's approval of the K-12 mathematics adoption under a 1-year purchase agreement on May 26, 2026, the true scope of negotiations and purchase was over a 7-year period. Thus, the district's final contractual commitments differ from the original adoption amount approved by the board. So to ensure transparency and alignment between board action and the district's executed contractual obligations, administration recommends rescinding the May 26, 2026 approval and replacing it with the approval of the final agreements outlined below. So you can see under the final curriculum agreements, I can go through each one of these one by one if you would like, or if you want to just trust your own reading, I'm fine with that. I would ask the chair if you would like me to go through those one by one. Okay. All right, thank you. Under the Houghton Mifflin Harcourt Intro to Math curriculum, there's a 7-year contract totaling $634,611, consisting of a year 1 payment of $99,986 and annual payments of $89,119 for years 2 through 7. McGraw-Hill, the ALEX curriculum is a 7-year contract totaling $151,290.14. That's payable as a one-time lump sum payment. The high school math adoption for the pre-calculus and supplies and materials is a 7-year contract totaling $19,552.98, payable as a one-time lump sum payment. McGraw-Hill Everyday Mathematics curriculum, that's at the elementary level, 2-year contract totaling $255,000, consisting of year 1 payment of $121,327.13 and a year 2 payment not to exceed $133,672.87. IXL Learning is a 7-year agreement, and included in this is a projected 3% annual increase with total expenditures not to exceed $349,265 over the life of the contract. These resources provide a comprehensive K-12 mathematics instructional framework that supports curriculum alignment, instructional consistency, assessment practices, intervention strategies, and student achievement goals across the district. And again, I want to thank Chief Academic Officer Amy Barch and her team of Nicole and Evan, who presented at the last meeting, for their work on this. So the administrative recommendation is twofold. Number one, and you'll take this in 2 separate motions, rescind the May 26, 2026 motion approving the K-12 mathematics adoption in the amount of $440,461.25. And I think I'll pause right there, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Questions for Dr. Brenner? Dr. Lund?
So just for clarity, the actual dollar amount hasn't changed. It's how it was presented last time. It's not like there's different monies that are going to be charged in contracts. It's the same. It's just the way it was presented last time.
May I answer that? Yeah. The actual amount of everything that's included, and don't add up all the numbers because I added up all the numbers and they didn't work out to the number that I'm going to give you because we got 1-year payments, 2-year payments. The life total over 7 years is $1,409,719.12. So that's different than the $440,000.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is that these companies didn't come back and renegotiate over the last 2 weeks. This was what was out there. It just got mispresented to the board before.
That is correct, by me.
Thank
yes.
you. That's what I meant.
Other questions on this item? Amber?
To further clarify, I think the 1-year total, just being a $200,000 difference, that is not, we were budgeting for the approval of what we're going to do today. We're not having to find an additional $200,000 in the first year.
That is correct.
Okay.
Board Member Flynn, thank you.
Further questions on this first part or the whole? Okay. Jay?
The IXL
Can you turn on your mic, please?
Sorry, yeah, the IXL Learning, that $349,265, is that the total contract value in 7 annual installments? How is that payment made?
My best response to that is It's in this 7-year agreement, so not to exceed that total over the course of 7 years.
So we pay some chunk of that every year.
I would say yes, and I'm not looking at Brandon to bail me out, but I know you did some homework on this one as well.
Mr. Baumbach?
Yeah, thank you, Chair Anderson, Board Member Clevin, Dr. Brenner. Really what that is again, some of these, the different adoptions were actually a full 7-year contract, and we need the authority from this board if we're going to engage in a 7-year commitment. In a case of a IXL learning, it's the initial year quoted with an assumption built in on the escalation of it, so setting aside a budgeted amount that we can count on, knowing to go forward, but it's not a 7-year contract.
Mr. Clevin, any follow-up, or?
Well, it says right there, it's a 7-year agreement.
Yes. I would, the way I understand that one in particular is that we have an agreement for the first year, and you don't change your adoptions all that quickly. I think if we want to make sure and double check it, but my understanding is that we have the initial with a projected 3% annual increase is also the way it's worded there, that I think that we're holding budget for those future years.
And so the sum of this first year agreement and subsequent annual payments not exceeding 3% increases, that total cash value would be cannot exceed $349,265.
That is accurate.
Thank you. Other questions? Okay, seeing none. Motion number 1 on this that we're looking at then is a potential motion to rescind the May 26th, 2026 motion approving the K-12 mathematics adoption in the amount of $440,461.25. Mr. Larson has made a motion. Is there a second? Bill, second. Any further discussion on that item? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote on that.
Palmesino? Manley? Lund? Larson? Clevin? Hodak? Flynn? Berger is absent. Anderson?
Yes.
HS, 0, no, 1 absent.
Okay, so motion carries. Then the second item, Dr. Brenner, did you want to go back with that?
Sure. The second one would be to approve the final curriculum agreements and associated expenditures as presented previously, but also included below. The Houghton Mifflin Harcourt curriculum at $634,611 over 7 years. The Alex curriculum at $151,290.14, 7-year agreement. High school math adoption, $19,552.98, 7-year agreement. Everyday mathematics curriculum not to exceed $255,000, 2-year agreement, and the IXL learning that we just talked about, not to exceed $349,265 over 7 years.
Thank you. Questions on that portion? Okay, seeing none, then I would seek a motion. Mr. Manley makes motion to approve. Is there a second? Bill, second. Further discussion on this motion? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote.
Lund? Hodak? Manley? Flynn? Clevin? Larson? Palmesino? Berger is absent. Anderson? HS, 0, no, 1 absent.
Motion carries. Item 5J, consideration to accept donation from Oxford Realty to support elementary intramurals. Mr. Baumbach.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. During the budget realignment conversation, a number of different concepts are brought forward, discussed, and decided upon. One of those includes the reduction of a elementary intramural program across all sites. During the process and the whole realignment conversation, it was put out there publicly at this board table and beyond to say, if there are different ideas in support of any of those realignment concepts or retaining those, that those would be heard. Oxford Realty had reached out on that after learning of the elementary intramural program going away. They stated their interest in supporting the program, and so we met and had a conversation around what that program entails. What elementary intramurals primarily includes is after-school programming led by mostly with teachers with an additional contract to spend some time, again, after school hours in 5 different seasons. There's discretion at each site as to what types of intramural programming they provide, so it varies greatly. But it's offered at all the school buildings in 5 different seasons. And students have a choice of paying a registration fee to participate in all or just some of those seasons. That's primarily what the intramural programming is. When you run the numbers on that, and this past year, it cost us just over about $45,000 on those those contracts to pay those individuals. Or, excuse me, it cost us closer to $60,000, but with the student registration fees, the net of that is an expense on the general ledger of $45,000 or so. And so what the conversation took place here is Oxford Realty, supportive of this program, has made a commitment of $50,000 per year with the opportunity to check in year to year. So if either party decided it wasn't going well or it wasn't what they expected, that there would be outs along the way. But there was initially conceptualized commitment of 5 years for intramural programs here. As the memo articulates, any gift in excess of $10,000 must be accepted from the school board itself. So bringing it here as that's most certainly an exciting opportunity to retain some programming, but still achieve the realignment goals as they were set out here. What follows in the document itself is a donation agreement. This is worked up by our legal and brought this forward. You'll notice a lot of different definitions, technicalities brought forth, including retention of even our own school brand, logo, and just how even the donor talks about it. So you'll see that there's a lot of control yet over the school district and the program itself. The outside donor doesn't get to dictate what the program is. It's truly just a local business in support of a program. And just to be extra clear too, the registration fees assessed to students would continue. And those are, I forget what the actual dollar amount is.
$12.50 per session.
$12.50 per one of the 5 seasons.
Correct.
And if there is any challenge for any student to pay, if they qualify for free or reduced according to the child nutrition program, they will get either free participation or half price of that dollar amount. So affordable program will remain affordable with this donation here. So I bring it to you for any conversation, of course. There is a written administrative recommendation to approve the donation agreement with Oxford Realty in support of the elementary intramural program. And doing that now would allow us the time to get everything organized ahead of the fall.
Any questions, Dr. Lund?
Well, thank you to Oxford Realty for stepping up. My question is just a quick one. I see this happening more and more. It's just like naming rights for bowls and arenas and everything. It's just going to happen more. Do we have a pretty standard contract so that across the board we're kind of doing this the same with various things? Granted, there may be some nuances with things, but legal is kind of doing this every time, so we have kind of a standard way of accepting donations.
Yeah, Chair Anderson, Dr. Lund, I think that's fair. That's exactly where we'd go is for consistency, but it is an emerging path for public schools. You know, it's certainly sponsorship, whether it's naming rights or how that's recognized, likely to be growing.
Thank you. Thank you. Other questions? Jay?
I mean, what a wonderful gift. And what's equally wonderful within it is just reading through this, the donors doing this because they believe in the program. I don't see anything in here where they're leveraging it to get their name on this or that or whatever. They're doing it because they believe in the kids, and it's just a great gift.
Thank you. Other questions, or Dr. Hodak?
I agree. It's a great gift, and we can so use it and appreciate that. The only thing that I was bothered with within this contract is the return of funds, because in that Article 5 or whatever, it says that unexpended restricted funds to the donor within 60 days of discontinuation of the process. What if there are dollars left over at the end of the year, is what I was looking for, because if you go, I believe it's in section 7, where it says, the return of funds shall return all unexpended restricted funds to the donor in accordance with that. But I was wondering, because we did make mention earlier about any interest and such paid on those dollars. So that's what I'm looking for clarification.
Mr. Palmbach.
Chair Anderson, Dr. Hodak, yeah, it's a fine point here. I think that our legal took the approach of truing up whatever the costs are with the program and the donor itself. So that's something that, there's obviously that opportunity written in that Article 5, I think you mentioned, where unless, as agreed to upon by both parties in writing, so maybe that's something we want to talk through with them and make sure we understand if we want that treated any differently. But the way it's written is the donation would cover what's expended.
That's why I was kind of thinking, okay, is it really just a perfect $50,000 to run the program for a year? No, there's no way that could be. And then I thought, well, maybe then what the student fees cover, that $1,250, so it goes to $57,000 or something like that. I just would encourage you to make sure that you have discussed that with the donor, because if kids don't sign up or take the program, and it keeps saying that it would be returned to them within 60 days, but is that every year then that they'd be looking at getting that? So that was, and I feel very confident that you guys would, that you all would take care of that. But I think it needs to be clearly pointed out.
Thank you. Other, Mr. Clement?
Just if I may direct our attention to Article 5.1, that might cover that. It talks about expiration or termination of agreement, but I certainly read it as implying that annual carryover is perfectly within the donor's request here and donor's intent, and that unspent carryover money just goes to the same program next year, is how I interpret Article 5, Part 1. I ain't no lawyer.
And neither am I, Jay. I'm just looking at that, but it seems to point more to discontinuing the after-school intramurals program for any reason during a term. So with that in mind, that's suggesting to me that we have to discontinue intramurals because for whatever reasons. And that's why I would like, so that just simply to the donor to know that if there are unexpected funds at the end of the year that are not used, what will happen with that money? Will it be carried over so that the donor might say, oh, you made a lot of money this time, so we don't need to give you the $50,000, we only need to give you $45,000. Or if it costs us more, is the donor willing then to step forward? So I'm sure all of these conversations went on. I'm just voicing my opinion.
Thank you. Others? Amber?
I have a couple questions. I was really excited to see this donation come through because I think intramurals provides a way for our students to be physically active, but also can act as a buffer for after-school program in a relatively low-cost way. So very excited about that. I was also pleased to see that we retain much of the programming operational process that we've sort of always maintained. With that being said, I'm curious about what conversations have happened with PE teachers this year where we've said we've maybe taken that program and the expectation of them coming back next year would not include intramurals, and if now it's summer, so how do we communicate with those individuals saying, like, just kidding, this is part of your expectation? I mean, I certainly understand that contractually, they're supposed to be here till a certain time during the year. So I'll stop there and ask my other questions, but curious on that perspective.
Mr. Baki, is that?
Sure, I can take
Please.
an attempt at this. Chair Anderson, Board Member Flynn. So there has been no communication with PE teachers at this point because this has not been firmed up or approved at this point. That communication would happen as soon as approval would happen. As well as what I would say is that there is no expectation that they have to do that. It's something that they sign up for. In fact, some of our buildings, the PE teachers do not do it because they coach other sports. And so we have other teachers that step in and do that. So it would become open to those teachers or those PE teachers who have done it in the past to elect to do that moving forward. And then if they aren't interested, then go down the line to find someone else.
So we do offer intramurals at every building. It just may not be the PE teacher that's staffing that.
Correct. And that does vary based on session and availability of staff at times, yes.
Okay. Considering the conversation surrounding those dollars and if there's excess, page 3 also talked about eligible expenditures. Who would sort of own the donation in terms of where those dollars would go? So certainly it comes, through the foundation and, business office helps handle it. But I'm even thinking about included but not limited to transportation for students. So we have a student participating in our program. They need to get somewhere after school. I mean, who decides if an eligible expenditure is transportation or, so the impetus for my question is, are we adding a duty with this donation sort of as a grant to someone's plate, and who owns that?
Mr. Baumbach?
Yeah, sure. Chair Anderson, Board Member Flynn. So just to clarify, this document is written between Oxford Realty and Grand Forks Public School District 1, so it doesn't go through the foundation, it comes directly to the school district. And so that would be facilitated administratively. So it's within the business office that we handle the My School Bucks, the registration for intramurals. We would just facilitate it likely at an administrative level with the sites themselves. And the primary focus here is, or starting out of the gate, would be to replicate exactly as it has been. So what services have been provided. If this is broader than that, which it probably is to some extent, that's our legal team writing eligible expenditures, but it would be our administrative team with the lead of Mr. Baki's position in working with the sites to identify those expenses.
Maybe something that I made an assumption on that you just mentioned. Is intramurals under Mr. Baki's portfolio currently?
So this is kind of a gray area, I would say. Board Member or Chairman Anderson, Board Member Flynn. This would be a gray area. It kind of is a trio of people that kind of oversee the intramurals between the principal, the athletic director, Biermeyer, and myself. We all kind of play a piece in it at times. A lot of the duties fall within the building level administrator to coordinate that with their necessary staff. But myself and athletic director Biermeyer do get involved from time to time.
I made the assumption that it would be under his portfolio as the leader primarily, so that's helpful to clarify. The other piece that I wanted to seek clarification on, but perhaps discussion about in relation to the program continuing is, as a parent who's participated in intramurals, the $12.50 per session, I believe, is inaccurate because 2 years in a row, and I double-checked my receipt on My School Bucks, I paid $35 for the entire year. Go ahead.
So yeah, thank you, Board Member Flynn. So it's $12.50 per session if you elect to go into one session, or you can pay the $35 for the entire year and get all 5 sessions.
Okay. So I think when we were having conversations about intramurals being on the budget reduction, one of the items we talked about is, could we increase fees? And that it's, again, relatively low cost, and we do have a mechanism for people who want to participate and maybe want to ask for a scholarship for that fee. But we never went as far as discussing what an increase in fees would look like, because it ended up then being more of a cost to operate, and it became on the budget reduction list. So could we still consider an increase in fees, knowing that staff costs are going to rise? So at some point, the 50,000 might not cover that, but, you know, is that something, do we consider it $15, you know, I don't know, but.
Dr. Brenner, please.
I can comment more from a secondary perspective than an elementary perspective. I think we've got elementary covered now for the next 5 years, but Activities Director Biermeyer has put together a new fee structure, particularly at the secondary level, looking at our high school activities and sports, co-curricular and extracurricular. So there will be an increase coming before the board for those. But I'm not sure that was your question, but I just want you to know that in the 52 budget reduction realignment pieces, there was also some revenue opportunities, and that was one of the revenue places where we're going to see an increase in fees.
I also recognize that my comment is on the backs of, like, we're also asking for families to pay a transportation fee for some that choose to use that too. So I'm not necessarily advocating, like, let's charge parents double than what they're paying now for intramurals, but in consideration of everything that we looked at, especially I think looking at this annually and what that cost run is going to continue if we have those individual salaries going up potentially. I'm just curious about the conversation surrounding that.
Thank you. Other items or other questions or discussion on this particular item? Mr. Larson.
Well, first I would say thank you to Oxford Realty. This is an awesome gift. And second, I would make a motion to approve the donation agreement with Oxford Realty in support of the elementary intramurals.
Perfect. Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the donation from Oxford Realty to support elementary intramurals. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote.
Hodak,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Flynn.
Yes.
Palmasino. Berger is absent. Lund. Clevin. Manley. Anderson. HS, 0 no, 1 absent.
Motion passes. Moving on the agenda to number 6, other. 6A is announcements. 6A1, we will skip with the absence of our student board member. Oops. Yes, if you have enough, let's go ahead and do that.
All right, sorry, Mr. Chair. Thank you for letting me interrupt. Just a reminder that Friday, June 12th, 10 a.m., we'll have the new Twining School groundbreaking ceremony at the Air Force Base. And the great news is the way you would be able to access the base is from the county road, and we haven't been able to do that since 2001. Since everything changed. So just so if you do want to attend, make sure you communicate with me, because I need to get your name to base personnel to get you on the base through that back gate. Secondarily, these three would not want me to do anything publicly. They've already reminded me in a different venue that I should not recognize them, but I can't help but do that tonight. Because this will be the last school board meeting for Dr. Galach, Mr. Bakke, and Mr. Bombach. And I just want to let them know and the board know that I've been very grateful for each one of them to be part of our leadership team. They have each brought unique talents and leadership and perspective to everything that we've done here, how we've moved our district forward, and I'm grateful for all their work, their perseverance, their leadership, their connection to people. All three of them will truly be missed as we reboot our executive cabinet effective July 1. So I want to thank Dr. Galach, Mr. Bakke, Mr. Bombach, and I'll stop there because my eyes are getting a little watery. So thank you for that.
Thank you. 6A, number 2, then we'll go recognition of outgoing board members. Dr. Brenner?
Well, let's just continue with some watery eyes here. We have 3 outgoing school board members, and I'm going to recognize each of them one at a time. I do have some prepared remarks, so please bear with me. The first one is Board Member Bill Palmasino. Tonight we have the privilege of recognizing and thanking a truly remarkable public servant, Bill Palmasino, for an extraordinary 33 years of service to our school district and to our community. For more than 3 decades, Bill has dedicated countless hours to the governance of our schools, helping shape opportunities for generations of students, families, and staff. His commitment to public education has never been about recognition or personal gain. It's always been about doing what's best for children and for ensuring our district remains strong for the future. Throughout Bill's tenure, he has been the embodiment of thoughtful leadership. He's patient, he's a careful listener, and one of the most genuinely respectful individuals with whom I've had the opportunity to work with. In a world where the loudest voices often receive the most attention, Bill has demonstrated that leadership is not measured by volume, but by wisdom. Soft-spoken by nature, he has never felt the need to dominate a conversation, yet when Bill speaks, people listen. His words carry weight because they are grounded in reflection, experience, and an unwavering commitment to serving others. Bill Palmasino, I want to thank you for your years of service to the Grand Forks Public School Districts. Next up, and Mr. Larson, we will have to have a new picture for you if you want to get into any events because your hair is a little bit longer in this picture. Tonight, we also recognize and thank Mr. Joel Larson for his dedicated service to the students, staff, and families of our school district during his 4-year term as a school board member. While 4 years may seem brief compared to some other tenures, Joel's impact has been both meaningful and lasting. He has approached his responsibilities with professionalism, integrity, and a genuine commitment to ensuring that every decision made at the board table reflected the best interest of students. Joel brought to the board a sharp legal mind and a thoughtful, reflective approach to governance. He consistently asked important questions, carefully considered multiple perspectives, and demonstrated a deep understanding of the complexities facing public education. Perhaps most importantly, Joel truly represented all of Grand Forks. He understood that every student matters, regardless of neighborhood, background, or circumstance, and he was a steadfast advocate for educational opportunities that serve all learners. This commitment certainly extended beyond our community, as Joel devoted a significant amount of time in Bismarck, where he was able to advocate and get laws passed for the expansion of the TLC, which serves many of our students. So Joel, for your professionalism, wisdom, and perspective that you've brought to this school board, thank you, and we wish you and your family continued success in the years ahead. Dr. Sherry Hodak. Tonight, we also pause to recognize and thank you for your dedicated service to our school district as a member of the school board. While you served a 2-year term, I suspect many would agree that the demands, challenges, and opportunities of those 2 years felt much closer to a 4-year commitment. During a period of significant transition and important decision-making, you've willingly stepped forward to serve our students, staff, and community with professionalism, wisdom, and unwavering dedication. Dr. Hodak, you've brought a unique and invaluable perspective to the board as a former superintendent, former chair of educational leadership at the University of North Dakota. You possessed a deep understanding of public education, both from a practitioner and preparation perspectives. Your knowledge of school systems, leadership development, governance, and educational policy enriched board discussions and provided important context as the district worked through issues affecting both the present and the future of public education. Your ability to connect lessons from the past with the realities of today while keeping an eye on what lies ahead has been a tremendous asset to the school district. So Dr. Hodak, on behalf of the board and administration, staff and students, and the broader Grand Forks community, thank you for sharing your knowledge, experience, and leadership with us. All the best to you in your future endeavors.
Any other announcements? Okay. Item 6B is board requests for future consideration. Any board requests? Mr. Clevin?
Yeah, kind of in recognition of the public comment today, sometime in the next month, could we see an update on impacts of our attendance realignment? And to see if we can track, like if our intentions of managing the school attendance are being met? Thank you.
Thank you. Other board requests? Okay, seeing none. 6C is school board meeting norms. Dr. Hodak, how did we do?
Did very well.
Thank you. Item 7 on the agenda is an executive session. At this time, I would ask for a motion to hold an executive session to discuss the pending litigation of Jane Doe 1 et al. Versus Milan Allen Delante Nelson, Grand Forks Public School District, and John Doe School Administrators 1 through 10, United States District Court for the District of North Dakota, case number 326-CV-00111. The school board may convene into executive session for attorney consultation regarding this pending civil litigation pursuant to North Dakota Century Code 44-04-19.1 and 44-04-19.2. There's a motion by Mr. Larson. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Manley, second. Take a roll call vote.
Clevin.
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Lund.
Yes.
Flynn.
Yes.
Hodak.
Yes.
Manley.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Palmasino. And Berger is absent. 8 yes, 0 no, and 1 absent.
Motion passes. We will now ask members of the public who are attending the meeting to leave the room. We will move to a different room at this time. We anticipate adjourning the executive session and reconvening into the open portion of the meeting at approximately 7:56 p.m. And once we do come back into open meeting, our business will be just to adjourn the open meeting. So at this time, we'll move to another room. Thank you.